So join me on your back and make sure that you have space to lie in the X shape. And we'll take a moment to do a body scan. If it's uncomfortable having your arms in this X shape, just simply take them out to the sides or lower. And I want you to direct your attention to the back of your head, feeling how it connects to the ground. And then send your awareness to your neck spine, noticing the curve there. Travel your awareness down into your thoracic spine and notice how that curve goes in the opposite direction. It's convex instead of concave. And then sense the connection of your right shoulder blade to the floor and your left shoulder blade to the floor. Then bring your awareness back to your spine, your thoracic spine, and move down into sensing your low back spine, your lumbar spine, and how that curve is the same as your cervical spine, your neck spine. It moves away from the floor. It's a lordosis as opposed to a kyphosis. And then finally, sense the connection of your sacrum and your tailbone to the ground. And then check in with your breath. So take a slightly longer breath in and a slower breath out. And let your awareness of your breath also help you connect to the ground. And on these last two rounds of breath, take the time on the inhalation phase to let your belly and your ribs expand. And then notice the natural pause when you filled up your lungs before you exhale. We'll do that one more time together. Slow breath in, expanding your belly. Your ribs stretch apart, front to back, side to side. And you exhale. Okay, so we're going to start by bending our right elbow and letting your head roll to the right. And then start to bend your right knee so that your right elbow and right knee come towards each other. And then you lengthen back out to the X. If you have a ponytail, you got to get it out of the way. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you start to slide your left arm along the floor, bending your left elbow. Start to slide the outside of your left foot along the floor, bending your left knee. Your head will just naturally roll to the left. And then you lengthen back out to the X. We'll do that one more time on each side. Head rolls to the right. There's imaginary magnets drawing your right elbow to your right knee. That's going to create lateral flexion of your spine or a side bend at the waist, and then you lengthen back out. You can link your breath to your movement if you like to exhale as your left knee and elbow bend and inhale to lengthen. Feel free. Let's actually do one more time on each side. You also might notice as your right elbow and knee come together that your left leg naturally slides to the right. Your left hip naturally adducts. One more time, to the left, bending your left elbow, your left knee, reaching through your right hand, your right foot, feeling a contraction along the left side of your waist, and then returning to your X. We're going to repeat on the right side, but add on. So right elbow and right knee bend. They come closer to each other. You start to slide your left leg along the floor, and your left hand also is spiraling along the floor until you've traced a circle with your left foot and your left hand that takes you into a ball onto your left side. And then we're going to retrace to come back. So if you imagine your kinesphere, there's a circle or perimeter on the floor. You reach out with your left hand and your left foot to touch the perimeter of that circle, and you describe the circle, and that brings you back to your X. All right, so as your left elbow and left knee bend, your right hand and right foot are tracing the perimeter of the kinesphere, the imaginary circle on the floor, that Leonardo da Vinci man circle. And that takes you all the way over into a little ball, like a seed. And then you retrace right hand, right foot, reach away from each other. They paint the rainbow above your head and below your hips, and that takes you back to your X. We're going to pick up the pace, going to the right, and this time when you land on your right side, curled up into a little ball, imagine you're like a little chicken, and you're going to hatch from your egg. So you'll expand out into the star, pressing your bottom arm and leg into the ground and reaching your top arm and leg up. And then you recoil into the seed, the egg, trace the perimeter of the circle on the floor back to your X. And then we go the other direction. So you side bend, you curl into the ball, and then you expand. This time add maybe a little back bend in the balance. So look at your hands and look behind you. And then flex, curl round back into the seed. Trace the floor with your hands, with your feet, back to the X. And then just pause here for a moment. And we're going to check in with the body scan one more time. So noticing the connection of your head to the floor, the natural curve of your neck spine away from the floor. Notice the connection of your upper back spine into the floor, as well as your shoulder blades. Maybe your shoulder blades feel the same connection to the floor as they did before, or perhaps they feel heavier or lighter on the floor. Notice the natural curve of your low back spine and the connection of your sacrum and tailbone. Okay, so let's go ahead and slide the right leg and right arm over into that seed, the egg, and then press yourself up to seated and reset your mat. So we're going to use the mat for the rest of the practice until the very end when we recheck. So once you have your mat set up, if you want to have your blocks and blanket nearby, do that, grab them. Come onto your back again, and we're going to come into a cobbler's pose position. So soles of the feet are together, but you're supine. And press your arms into the floor, and you can choose if you want them out to the side, down by your hips, in a low V. I'm going to do low V. And then feel all 10 of your toes connect to each other. So big toes connect. And right away, you might feel some work in your inner thighs to do that versus the passive version where you just let your feet flop open. Once you have the connection through the soles of your feet, take a breath in. And as you exhale, go ahead and lift your hips up. And in this lifted position, let's play with some options. So come into an anterior tilt and then a posterior tilt. So a little happy tail and sad tail. And I want you to pick which one you like better, or somewhere in the middle. So options. I'm going to pick the posterior tilt. and then lower back down. And then we'll lift up and down 3 more times. You can decide if you want to be more in a tucked position with the glutes engaged, more neutral glutes. So you're not going to hurt yourself here. So notice how you have options and which option seems most efficient and appropriate for this movement for you today. Then the next time you lift your hips up, you're going to imagine a seesaw. So one child is on your right knee and the other's on your left knee. Your buttocks are lifted and the seesaw goes up and down. Another image that might be helpful is there's a cup of water on the top of each knee, and you're spilling the water to the right and then to the left. One more time, each way. Ooh, definitely feeling this activation in my glutes and lateral leg line. And then come back center and lower back down. Take a moment to pause and rest and notice the connection of your buttocks, the back of your pelvis to the ground. And then reconnect the soles of your feet, all 10 toes. And we're going to put the open close together, so to speak. So as you lift your hips up, bring your knees toward each other. You'll get stuck based on how much range of motion you have at the ankle joint. And then open the knees back out as you lower down. Keep the toes connected though the whole time. So you lift and close, you lower to open. But the open doesn't mean that your feet separate. We're going to go for 3 more. Lift and close. And close is obviously a relative word, right? Because there's only so much closing you can do with the soles of your feet in this situation. And then last time, lift. Feel the engagement of your inner thighs, your adductors, and then lower. All right. So hug your knees to your chest, and we're going to roll up into shin box. And so with shin box, I'm going to try to, make sure I get my rights and lefts. Just as a forewarning, I mess up rights and lefts all the time, so it will happen. We're going to do shin box or Z-sit. Right shin is forward and left leg is off to the side. And then take your left hand to the floor, reach your right arm up as you side bend. And then add rotation. Turn your chest towards the floor and then come back to your side bend. You're going to cartwheel the arms up and over so your right hand lands on the floor and you'll lift your left arm up as you lift your hips up. A little hip extension. And then we'll repeat that 2 more times. You can always modify this position by straightening your left leg out to the side. Left hand to the floor. Inhale, side bend up and over. Exhale, rotate, chest to the floor. Inhale, back to your side bend. Cartwheel the arms up and over. Right hand plants into the ground and you lift up onto your shins. 1 more time, sweeping the left arm down and around, sweep the right arm up into your side bend. And then exhale, curl and rotate, chest to the floor. De-rotate back to your side bend. Arms sweep up and over, right arm to the ground, left arm is up, and hips extend. And then come back down through center, and we're gonna balance here, grab the backs of your thighs. We did this one yesterday, and just a little massage for your spine. So rolling like a ball, but no abs required, right? And then maybe we'll do a version of one where you do use your abs, so a little more Pilates-esque. You'll balance with your feet off of the ground, curl and round your spine, roll back to your shoulder blades, and then balance at the top without straightening into a back bend. 2 more. There's that natural pause where you'll definitely feel abdominals connect. And last one. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So you'll have your left shin in the front, right shin out to the side. Again, you can always do this to make it a little more comfortable. Okay, right hand to the floor. Inhale, left arm up and over. And then spiral your chest to the ground. Come back to your side bend. arms sweep up and over, and then left hand to the ground, right arm is up, hips extend. 2 more times. Right hand to the floor, side bend up and over. And then rotate, chest to the floor. Come back to your side bend. Let your eyes lead the way. So let your eyes follow the hand that's reaching. One more time. Right hand to the floor. Eyes follow the left hand. And then rotate. Come back to your side bend. Follow your eyes, follow your left hand onto the floor, but then let your gaze, your drishti, go up to your right hand as you extend the hips. And then coming back down. Okay, so we are gonna come into a kneeling position, but make sure that you're far back enough that you could do like a child's pose and your hands are on the mat. So sort of center-ish of your mat. Okay, and then bring your right hand to your low back and your left arm is gonna come up. We'll come into tall kneeling and side bend over to the right. And then lift your chest and look up for a little bit of extension. Hinge at the hips, land your left hand on the ground, and then bring your right hand to meet for child's pose. Then bring your left hand to your lower back. Activate through your back muscles and hinge back up into tall kneeling. And then we side bend to the left and come back center. Look up and back center. Then hinge at the hips. Find your right hand on the ground. Left hand is going to meet. And then from here, you're going to shift forward into cow, arch, and then round cat back to child's. Then we've got left hand in the lower back, and you'll rise back up, hinging at the hips. And I think we just did this side, but that's okay. Whenever I do the wrong side, please just do the other. Left side bend. Inhale, little extension. Hinge at the hips, lower down, right hand, left hand. Inhale, arch, cow, shift forward. Exhale, curl, cat, shift back. Right hand to your lower back. Find your back muscles, lift your torso. Inhale, tall kneeling. Then pause, take a little extra back bend in the upper back. And then back to neutral, side bending to the right and back up. Last time, we're gonna hinge at the hip crease. Lower down, left hand, right hand to child's. Shift forward into your cow. And then exhale, curl to your cat, back to child's. Left hand to your lower back. Start to lift your torso, extend the hips, side bend left, and then back to center. Go ahead and lower your right arm down. And we're gonna, oh, that's a little alarm to tell me what time it is. Okay, it's 10:30, good to know. All right, so from here, we're gonna place the hands on the floor and come into downward facing dog. And then in that downward facing dog, I want you to have your feet far enough apart so that when you rise up onto the balls of your feet, you can shift into what I call like a balance beam position. So when you point your toes to the left and your heels to the right, it's like your feet are on a balance beam. And then if you press the ground away, you might feel some nice stretch through the left side of your body. And then we shift back, balls of the feet, downward dog. And then heels to the left, toes to the right, and your feet are back on that same balance beam. And you can adjust your hands as you like to really get the push so that you can perhaps feel some length through the right side line from your right hand all the way to your right side waist, to your right heel. Okay, and then come back to center. You're gonna lift your right leg up and then sweep it through. And this time you're gonna actually, put your shin bone on the ground. And this is gonna be the hardest sequence for me because there's a lot of rights and lefts. Nope, it's left. Okay, yes. So lunge forward with the left. I'm gonna make sure I look so I don't mess this up. No, it's right leg up. Okay, right leg up, come forward lunge. There we go. Left knee down, left shin spins. And I have my back to you, but that's just kind of how it is because this is a spiraling flow. So we're gonna call this kneeling warrior 2. And then you'll place your right hand on the block or the floor, circle your left arm up to an extended side angle pose, kneeling. And then we place the left hand on the floor, right arm sweeps up, right knee straightens, and here's your modified side plank. We're gonna repeat that. So sweep the right arm down, right hand plants on the floor, and there's your extended side angle pose. Then straighten your right knee, left hand comes to the floor, modified side plank. We'll do it again. So come up, bend your right knee, extended side angle pose. And then arm sweeps down, left hand lands, right arm up, and there's your modified side plank. Then from here, you're gonna come all the way back up into that kneeling warrior 2, but bring your hands to the back of your head and you'll side bend 3 times to the right. So as you side bend, think of lifting up and over, and as if there's a wall behind your head and you're just sliding your fingers and your head against the wall. One more time. And then as you come up, you're going to straighten the right knee and then lean out to the left and come back up. Your right foot can point forward, it can point out to the side. But again, we're trying to connect to the lateral lines of our body, so that when we recheck the somatic sequence at the end, maybe things feel a little bit more connected. Last time, reach out through your elbow, and then you'll place your hand down on the floor. And let me make sure I get this transition right. Oh, yes. So we're going to reach out like this for a moment. Ooh, and try to balance, because we're going to do this later in the half moon, but I like to think of this like a flying star. Then place your left hand down, push into the ground so much with your left hand and your right foot that there's a lot less weight in your left knee. You might just stick with that, or you might lift your left inner thigh to meet your right inner thigh. Right arm can reach long up by your ear for 3, 2, and then on 1, you're going to step back with your left foot and meet me in downward facing dog. So go ahead and pedal it out. So we're going to do all of that on the other side. So you'll take your left leg up and back, step it through to a lunge. And then the right knee is going to drop and it's going to spin to the left. So once again, my back is to you, my apologies, for warrior 2, kneeling. Left hand to the floor, right arm sweeps up. And then cartwheel it over into your modified side plank. 2 more times. Left knee bends, left hand plants, extended side angle. Arm sweep, left knee straightens, right hand plants, modified side plank. 1 more time. So the sweeping of the arms, I was never a dancer, but I really enjoy this choreography and movement. It's very challenging for my brain. So if it's challenging for your brain as well, you're not alone. Okay, so from here, we're gonna come all the way back up to the warrior two. Hands behind the head. And then side bend to the left and back up. And again, this is all proprioception. So can you sense if you're twisting or if you're side bending? We're trying to side bend. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference when there's no feedback from the floor. And then straighten the left knee. You're gonna reach out with your elbow. Whew, and come back up. 2 more times. Reach long and out to the side with your torso. Right toes are a kickstand. 1 more. And then on this last one, you'll reach your arms out if you want. Longer lever is a heavier load. Land your right hand on the ground. And then put so much weight and pressure into your right hand and your left foot that you can lighten the load on your left knee. Left arm reaches up by your ear. And then maybe lift your right knee to your left knee for 4, 3, 2, and then on 1, you're gonna reach the right foot back, plant the hands, find your downward facing dog. And go ahead and pedal it out. Shake your head, yes or no. And then walk your feet to your hands so you're at the front of the mat in a forward fold. This is where if you wanna grab a brick, you can. You're gonna bend your left knee. You'll have your left hand either on the floor or on the brick. And remember from yesterday, you're gonna bend your elbow and rotate. So it's twisted Uttanasana or half Uttanasana. And then from here, somebody pulls you up. Remember the sort of dripping sideways by your right hand until you're all the way standing, left arm reaches up to meet. And then from here, you're gonna reach your right arm forward as you side bend and rotate. And then right arm reaches up, both arms up, and we drip back down. So left knee bends, right arm is still reaching up, left hand finds the floor. And then you're gonna step back into a lunge with your left foot. So we're in this twisted lunge. But then place your right hand on the floor and step back to plank. Have some space in between your feet. We're gonna get into that balance beam plank. So spin your feet to the left and then bend both of your knees. Then come back forward, and this is tricky. Try to mess it up. Spin feet, lower right. Yes. Sorry, redo. All right. I need to make sure I'm looking at my notes and not trying to remember everything in my head. Okay. Left foot back to lunge. There we go. Okay. I got to something ahead of time. So we're in our lunge. You're going to spin both of your feet to the right. There we go. And so now we're in another modified side plank. You can stay here, or you can add a lower and a lift. I'm gonna do 2 more of those, lowering down and lifting. So the outer left leg line, and of course, left shoulder, armpit, have to really connect here. Then the next time you come back up, we're gonna circle the hands all the way over in front of your left foot, and you'll bend your left knee. So it's a lateral lunge or high skandasana. But in order to get the lateral line stretch, walk your hands over towards your right foot. So you've got left knee bent. Most of your weight is off to the left in this lateral lunge or high skandasana, but your hands are reaching over to the right. Take 2 more breaths here. And then walk your hands back to frame your left foot. So you're back in a lunge. Now we're gonna do the thing I thought we were doing. You're gonna step back into your balance beam plank. So heels spin to the right, toes are to the left. And then this is where you're gonna bend both of your knees and straighten. And we're gonna do that 2 more times. I'm gonna make sure I'm on track. Yeah, bend the knees and straighten. Yes, we are. Okay. And then on that last time you straighten your knees, you're gonna come back to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back. Then bend the knee for scorpion. You can externally rotate for a moment if you like, but then come back to squaring off the hips so you can step forward into high lunge or crescent lunge. In your high crescent, your right hand is going to clasp your left wrist. And this is optional, but I like to do this. I like to bend my back knee a little bit so I get more of a hip flexor stretch. So I'm kind of tucking the tailbone, bending the back knee, and then side bend to the right. Holding here for 2 more breaths. Noticing your body and noticing your breath. And then spinning out to warrior 2. This is where if your leggings are down around your heels, not a good plan. All right, and then from warrior 2, we're back in extended side angle pose. So we've progressed from kneeling to standing. From extended side angle pose, we're gonna come into reverse triangle. And then from reverse triangle into traditional triangle pose. And then just like we did earlier, option to lift the bottom arm. So you're gonna have a lot more work through the lateral side of your waist, your obliques. And then from here, you'll spin your left toes out, hands to prayer, and we come into the low skandasana. And this is a place where you can use any props you like. You can have your hands forward to help you balance. Because we're not going to be here long. And then you'll transition your hands to either side of your front foot, your left foot, and then step your back foot forward, Uttanasana. Oh my gosh, we made it. Oh, everything on the other side. Let's see how it goes. I did a lot of practice teaching this class because I was never a dancer. So I love this type of brain work, but it's hard for me. Okay, so here we are in our rotated Uttanasana with the right knee bent. Right hand down, left arm up, and then you get pulled up by your left hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder, and then your right arm sweeps up to meet. Left arm sweeps down and forward, and that turns you into a side bend with rotation. Left arm rises up to meet the right, and then we drip back down. Right knee bends, right hand drops. And then when you step back, this time it's gonna be with your right foot. Okay, here's where I messed up earlier, but I think I got it this time. You're gonna spin both of your feet to the left. And so now we're in this modified side plank. You can stay here, or you can lower lift. So when you lower, you'll feel that whole outer right leg line hit the ground. When you lift, you've got 2 bases of support, your right hand and your left foot. Let's do 2 more times. Start to work the dorsiflexion of your right ankle. So use the outer edge of your right foot. And then back up. Okay, and then from here, this is where we're gonna step back to balance beam plank, I think, but let me double check. Lower, lower, yes. Oh no, right into the skandasana. Okay, so yes, we get to spin all the way around and then walk your hands all the way over in front of your right foot, right knee bends, and you're in this lateral lunge. But then to get this stretch along the right side waist, you walk your hands over to the left. So high skandasana, hands to the left. I'll never forget, like 13 years ago when I first found yoga, and then I discovered Shiva Ray, and she did all these circular flows because she was a dancer, and I just loved them, but I could never, ever remember them to teach. But it's a good brain challenge. Okay, so from the high skandasana, we're gonna walk our hands to frame the left foot, and we step back to our balance beam plank. And this time, I believe it's heels to the left, toes to the right, but it could be the opposite. And you'll bend your knees, straighten your knees, come back to down dog, left leg lifts up for scorpion. Bend your left knee, externally rotate your hip, and then come back to neutral. And then you'll step all the way forward into a lunge, and then lift to your high crescent. And this time it's going to be left hand clasping right wrist. Yes. So we side bend to the left this time. And like last time, I'm going to bend my back knee a little bit because I want more of a hip flexor stretch. Holding here for one more breath. And then we transition into our warrior two, left knee bent. Left forearm to left thigh, extended side angle pose. From extended side angle, you'll straighten the front knee into your reverse triangle. And then regular triangle pose. Place your left hand on your shin or the block. Pause for a moment. And then maybe you lift your left arm up for 4, 3, 2, on 1, connect your palms together. Turn your right foot out, bend your right knee, Skandasana, the low version. Place your hands wherever you need to for support. You can always prop up. We're not going to be here for very long. All right, and then we're going to walk our hands to frame the right foot. Step all the way forward with the left into the forward fold. So we're going to add on to our flow. We're back on the left side. So left knee is bent. Right hand is on the ground. Left arm is up towards the ceiling. And I want to double check that because if I start it, left knee, no, it's right arm up. Left knee bent. Yes, I knew something was wrong. I'm glad I caught it. You guys will really get to know how human I am. Okay, left knee is bent, left hand's on the floor, right arm is up. Asymmetrical Uttanasana. You get pulled up by your right arm. And then the left arm sweeps up to meet it. Right arm drops and reaches forward, side bend right, and rotate, looking up to the left. Right arm comes up to meet the left. Left arm drips down again, left knee bends. There's your asymmetrical Uttanasana. And then we step back with the left foot into our lunge. Here's the transition. Both feet gonna spin to the right. You lower down or not and lift up. 2 more times. Lowering and lift. One more. I'm taking a peek to make sure I don't miss anything. Lower and lift. Yes. All right. And then you're going to circle the hands all the way around to the left foot. Woo. Here we go. High Skandasana. Left knee is bent. You're in your lateral lunge. You walk your hands over to the right. Take a moment to bring your sensory awareness to the area of your body that runs from your left wrist to your left armpit to your left side waist. And perhaps you're also feeling some stretch in your right inner thigh. Okay, and then you're going to walk your hands around to frame the left foot. Step back, balance beam plank. Toes are going to point to the left, heels to the right. Now, last time we did this, we had both hands on the ground and bent the knees. You can do that again, or you can sweep your left arm, here's that arm sweeping stuff, into a side plank. And then from the side plank, if you did that version, come back to your downward facing dog. And this time it's the right leg that's gonna lift up. Bend the right knee for your scorpion dog. Externally rotate and then neutralize the hips. And then step it forward, high lunge, high crescent. Okay, yes. So actually from the scorpion dog, we're moving on to something a little more challenging. So bring your hands back down. Come back to your downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up and back, right knee bends. You're gonna come onto the outer edge of your left foot. And then option to maybe lift the right hand. Whoa, right? Option to maybe land the right foot into a wild thing. And then for the transition back to the lunge with the right foot forward, drop your hips, swing your arm and your leg back around, and you're back in your high lunge. All right, so from here, we're gonna come to crescent. That's the ticket. All right, and then we add some balance. So warrior three, looking at the time. So you're gonna step forward and keep your right knee bent. Sweep your arms back as you lift your back leg up. Keep the right arm back, reach the left arm forward. So again, that lateral line connection along the left side in your warrior three. Whoa. And then you'll step your foot back. You're gonna circle the arms around to warrior two. I think we're on the wrong side, but hopefully I'll figure it out. And then warrior two, extended side angle pose. And then we went right into a reverse triangle. Back to regular triangle. And then here's where we add on a little more balance. Option though, always, of course. So you're gonna come into, if you choose, a high half moon. So this is that flying star that we did on the ground earlier, remember? All right, and then we gotta make our way back into Skandasana. So you're gonna spin your left toes out, hands come to prayer, and you drop down. Okay, this time we're gonna land it. I'll scooch a little bit forward because I'm falling off the mat. All of these things are options. So you could just drop your leg into regular Janu Sirsasana, or if you want, take your right hand to your left shin, left arm up to the ceiling, and come into a side bend. If you are really mobile like I am, which is a curse, but it's okay these days because I do lots of strength training and have strength through my range, you're more than welcome to grab the sole of your right foot. Take a deep breath in. Yes, your left buttock will leave the ground on this one. And then coming back out, you'll lift up, frame your left foot with your hands, step your right foot forward to meet your left, and we do it all on the other side. Okay, so right knee is bent, right hand's on the floor, left arm is up to the ceiling, half Uttanasana twisted. You get pulled up by your left arm, and then your right arm sweeps up to meet. Left arm drops down and forward, side bend with rotation. Left arm comes up to meet the right. Right arm drops down, right knee bends, and you're back where you started. And then we step back this time with the right foot. Spin your feet to the left into your modified side plank. You can stay here or lower and lift with me 3 times. Lowering and back up. So that arm sweep, the connection to your lateral line is there. It's formulating in your brain. Okay, next time we lift up, want to make sure I don't mess this part up. Right arm, yes. Yes, okay, here we go. We're gonna circle it around into our high Skandasana, which means my butt's probably in your face, but that's okay. So right knee is bent, left leg is straight, but then you're gonna walk your hands over to the left. Take a few breaths here. in your high skandasana. And then walk your hands to frame your right foot. Step back to your plank, but the balance beam version. And this is where I'll probably mess up which way the feet go. So if you remember, go the correct way. I'm going to check my notes real quick and see if I can figure it out. Balance beam plank. Okay, so I think it's toes point right. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, yes. So the first round we did just bending and straightening. So you can stick with that. Or this round, if you want, as you bend your knees, you can sweep your right arm down, up, and into a side plank. And then back to downward facing dog. And it's going to be left leg reaches up and back for scorpion. Bend your left knee, externally rotate, and then come back to neutral. Step all the way forward. And instead of high lunge, this is where we go right up into warrior three with the arms reaching back. Try it with your left knee staying bent. Keep your left arm reaching back, reach your right arm forward. Feel the length from your right toes to your right fingertips. And then arms cartwheel out to warrior two. Right into extended side angle pose. And then reverse triangle. And then find your triangle pose, hand to shin. And we'll come into our high balancing half moon pose. So here we go. Gonna shorten your stance, ground through that bottom foot. Remember that feeling from the very beginning of class when you're in your star. And of course, this is highly progressed. All right, then you'll slowly lower back down. Hands to prayer, externally rotate your right foot. Come all the way down to the ground into your skandasana. Of course, Janu Shirshasana is always a nice option here. And then left hand to right shin, right arm reaches up and over. Play around with sensing your lateral lines. And then if you want to connect your right hand to your left foot, here's me kind of floppy, and here's me with some tensegrity. So I'm really pushing my left foot into my right hand. I'm pulling back with my right. I'm finding tension, irradiation, and contraction in this shape. Ooh, it's challenging, I'm sweating. And then coming all the way back up, you'll lift up, and you're gonna frame your right foot with your hands, step all the way forward, and then take a wider stance with your feet and come into a ragdoll hang. So if you like to clasp your elbows, you can place your hands on the floor. Find a position where you can let your head go and just enjoy being upside down before we finish up. All right, so that is the timer. Okay, so from your forward fold, you're gonna roll all the way up to stand or hip hinge, however you like to come up to stand. And you'll take the mat off to the side if you're using one, and we are gonna recheck the somatic sequence. So come onto your back in the X. And start by bending your right elbow, bringing it into the side of your waist, and notice how your head rolled to the right. And then just the left elbow. Notice how that side bends you to the left. Then just the right knee to right armpit. And then just the left knee. And then we'll do right knee and right elbow. head rolls right. Slide it back. Left knee, left elbow. Notice how your right leg probably scooched along for the right. Let that happen. This time, right knee, right elbow, left arm and leg slide along the floor all the way around, curling you into a ball, a seed. And then that seed blooms as you press your bottom arm and leg into the ground, finding your star. Curl back into your seed. Visualize the imaginary circle on the ground that you trace the perimeter of back to your X. Left arm, left knee, circle all the way around onto your side. And then extend, bottom arm and bottom leg, push into the ground. This time, maybe you look up and back for a little bit of a back bend. And then curl back in. Find your connections to the circle, the kinesphere, on the floor, and come back into your X. So for Shavasana, your choice of position, if there's any one last thing your body is craving, the add-on, I'll do the add-on, the if time, even though there's not time, but just like a very abbreviated version, because I think it feels really nice. So you're lying on your back with your arms out to the sides and a T. Your right leg is gonna come up, and keep your left toes pointing towards the ceiling as your right leg goes over to the left. Push your arms into the ground. Don't let your right leg touch the floor. Keep your left toes pointing to the ceiling and find your breath. Sweep your right arm, right arm up to your right ear and then back out to the T. We'll do that one more time. Yes, it's a lot of work. Right arm sweeps up to your right ear and back out to the T. Last time. Up as your head turns right and out as your head comes back to center. Lift your right leg up and then also lift your left leg up. Lower the right leg down. Arms are still in the T. Right toes to the sky. So you're trying to internally rotate. Whoa, I don't want to hit this computer. Internally rotate the right thigh and of course the left one as well. Push into the ground with your arms. Your left leg never touches the floor. And then you'll slide your left arm up to your ear and back out to the side. As your left arm goes up to your ear, your gaze is up towards the ceiling. As your left arm slides out to the side, your head rolls to the left. One more time. Inhale slowly, gaze at the ceiling. Exhale slowly, arm goes out, head turns left. And then push your arms into the floor, left leg up to the sky. Whew. Bend your left knee. And now find your Shavasana. I think that bit of internal rotation and abduction feels really nice after what we do so much of in yoga, the external rotation and abduction. Bring your hands to rest somewhere on your belly or your front ribs in your chosen position of rest, assuming it's on your back. You're more than welcome to rest on your side or your belly. And bring your awareness back to your spine. Feel the connection of your head to the floor. And then notice the curve of your neck spine away from the floor. Feel the connection of your upper back spine and shoulder blades to the floor. And then notice the curve of your lower back spine. It might be away from the floor, might be on the floor. And then finally notice the connection of your sacrum and your tailbone to the floor. Take a slow, steady breath in through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. One more time. Slow, steady breath in. And a long, slow breath out. Hug your knees to your chest. Rock a little side to side. Choose a side to roll onto, and we will meet up in seated.